talk about it because I'm sure many of you saw Stormy Daniels testified in former President Donald Trump's criminal trial yesterday. So here's what happened. She recounted the alleged sexual encounter with Trump that is, of course, at the center of the case, saying it happened after a celebrity golf tournament back in 2006 in Lake Tahoe. She testified that she blacked out, saying, quote, "There was an imbalance of power for sure, but I was not threatened." She also went into great detail about the tryst, prompting Trump's defense team to call for a mistrial, which the judge rejected. Trump strongly denies the affair. And after yesterday's testimony, he said the DA's case was totally falling apart and is a disaster. So, question to you, question to the panel. What do you all think about Stormy's testimony? What would you say, Jeff?
When I first saw this, I was a little confused, right? Because I don't know a lot about the law. I watched Double Jeopardy and the OJ case like everybody else, right? But I thought this was about campaign funds, right? And if she's saying they had sex, and if he does take the stand later on and he says they don't, somebody would be perjured, right? They'd be lying on the stand, right? So one of them is going to get in trouble for this if it does come to that. So I don't really understand that. And do we need to go into details when we don't know the facts about whether isn't this about whether he took money from campaign funds, not about the details of the size of his stuff and whatever else was said on that stand? That's all I'm saying. I don't know a lot. I know when the OJ case took place, they didn't allow certain testimony because it affected the jury on what they were saying with this particular case. That's my only thing. I thought that was about, that's what this was about. That's all.
Hell has frozen over. I agree with Jeffrey. I completely agree with you.
Move to the south?
I was going to say you should be on a porch
well, look
somewhere
at her top.
Yeah, it's time for mint julep. No, I really have to say, a lot of people, Jeff, out there and everyone think it's, did he have sex with Stormy Daniels? That's the case. That is not the case.
I think he did.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
It does matter because the hush money that he paid interfered with the election with campaign finance funds. Allegedly. That is what he's on trial. It's about the money, okay? It's not about the tryst.
But a lot of people, it does matter too.
It does.
The tryst matters to a lot of people, not just the cover-up, but the fact that he cheated.
Agreed, but not in the name of the law. It doesn't matter in the least, except that he paid hush money to cover it up. But it doesn't have to be sex. Maybe they had something else or whatever. Here's what happened, though. The details in which went into, which everybody globbed onto and loved, is what's going to make this case, in my opinion, have fertile soil for an appeal. So here's what, I'm not going to go deeply into it, but she said he invited her to dinner. He was wearing silk or satin pajamas, okay? Then he went to he reminded her of his daughter, which was weird. Then he went to the bathroom and he was in boxer shorts. Then she goes into graphic detail that I'm certainly not going to expand on, but none of this mattered. It is called prejudicial. The jury is going to hear that and think something that was irrelevant to the case of campaign finance, and therefore an appellate court's going to say, yo, we're going to reverse this, much like, did we not see Harvey Weinstein just happen? He got appealed on a 4-3 opinion because they had irrelevant women. I don't mean they're irrelevant, but they weren't charged. Therefore, it was prejudicial to the jury. I think this was a mistake by the judge. This isn't what it was about, and he let it go, and he let it go, and the defense kept saying we object, and they're right.
I'm a little nervous me and Tori are on the same team.
I disagree because I don't know if you've seen, she's a docuseries out right now, and I didn't know if she was credible or not. I don't know much about her. It's not because of her past profession. I just did not know. When I watched that docuseries, the devil is in the details. And when she gave the details of that night, it made me believe her.
For sure.
So if people are questioning whether or not they had sex, since Trump is strongly denying that, which means why would you give her hush money, then I do think the details matter. That just comes from me.
But not in the arms of the law. The eyes of the law don't care.
Here's the thing.
But the jurors might.
But that's prejudicial because the law is specific.
You're talking about the court of law. Because I also watched that documentary, don't think it's about the court of law to her.
But they're in a court of law right now.
I understand, but that means nothing to someone who's sitting on the other side of Teflon Don. It doesn't matter at this point what she proves or what she says. People have already made up their mind about who she is, how she should be treated. None of those things are going to matter. But clearly, the truth matters to her, even if it's her truth that no one else is going to be swayed by. So she is taking, in my opinion, this opportunity in the court of law, knowing that this man is Teflon. Nothing is going to happen to this person.
What if she's the reason that they get an appeal because of this testimony?
And she may be.
But that's problematic.
And she may be.
Why, Tori? Because they lose a conviction, and many people won't vote for a convicted felon.
So what happens if there's a conviction?
Justice wasn't done, and voters will see that he wasn't a convicted felon.
What voters?
Many people who are independent say they will not vote for a convicted felon.
Okay.
And because of her, if they appeal that, he gets off because of it.
Well,
in two ways.
Up until a week ago, we were everyone had the same thought of mind that, hey, it really doesn't matter what happens in this, people's minds are made up. So either their minds are made up or they aren't. But if I'm Stormy Daniels and I'm asked questions about what happened that night and I am sticking to my story, I'm going to tell my story.
I don't blame her. I blame the prosecution for asking all of those questions. That is an appeal.
What if their plan is to
waiting
perjure him later? I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Totally. But again, the heart of the case, like Jeff said, isn't about this tryst. Yes, did they have sex? Yes, they might not have. He could have used the hush money to just a meeting that he didn't want people to know about. It's not about the sex. It's about the money. It's not about her. So it's not her fault.
I think they're intertwined. I disagree with you.
They're not.
I
think
agree
they're
with
intertwined.
what Al said, totally.
There was no place to jump in, so I was like,
Hey, that was the right thing to say. That was the right thing to say.
Good discussion.
Stormy discussion.